if you want to get all your heroes at level 60 as soon as possible in Call of Dragons, there are a few tips and tricks to follow in order to maximize your potential. Hi everyone, I'm Zoras, not Casuals, and today we're going to talk about heroes and leveling. In Call of Dragons, there is no way to purchase hero experience. There is no pack that gives you these little books. These you can only get by playing the game, by being active. It is going to make a huge difference because at level 59, you will unlock the ability to have a point at the last talent here and a point in the middle tier talent here. So it is going to be incredibly important and strong to focus on getting your heroes up there because it is going to make a big difference in your performance in both PvP and PvE. So of course, the main way of getting a lot of XP in this game will be Darkling patrols. Now, if you use the map here, you will see there's patrols, dark creatures, Darkling guards. Now, dark creatures are kind of like bigger creatures. They give XP, but as opposed to the same level patrol, which has the same CP cost, Darkling patrols are just way better. There is just so much XP to be made here. So it is going to be important to maximize the way you farm Darklings. Now, the first way for me to showcase this is going to be by chaining Darkling patrols. So there are a few things that you have to do in order to get the maximum amount of result out of this. So in order to chain successfully, you must use strong marches with as many troops as possible. So first, I would recommend that you do not use any of these little CP book until quite later into the game. When you are strong, when you have full marches of unit, they do reset at the season end, but you don't really need to be spending them until you have access to Darklings that are higher than level 20 and that you can fill quite a few marches. The reason I'm saying that is that when you attack a Darkling patrol, like you can see here, the cost is usually 50. Now, because I've already killed one Darkling patrol, it is 48. This goes down 5 times basically, meaning that it can cost 40 CP per attack. So if I have multiple march, for example, it is 148 because these haven't killed anything, but this one has. Eventually, you can make it so that your 5 marches can attack for 40 CP each, meaning that 5 marches killing one Darkling patrol will cost 200 CP total instead of 250. It is a pretty significant boost. It's 20% save CP. But in order to be able to do this and chain, one march after the other and after the other and after the other, you will need your marches to survive because the Darkling patrols are quite strong, especially the higher level ones. So you will want to have marches that are going to be surviving, because if you kill 4 or 5 of these marches, you get to the 40 cost, and then your march is in the red or in the yellow and it's half dead. Well, you won't be able to go much longer, right? So this is why you have to focus on, when you're very strong is when you're going to be spending a lot of your CP and your CP items in order to maximize this, because it will really add up and stack up in the long run. Now, also, when you are going to be doing this, I would recommend that you use the Peacekeeping heroes as your primaries, not only because they're going to make it easier to kill the enemies, but they are also going to give you a lot of extra bonuses. Now, mine are already level 60, so I've kind of stopped doing this, but there's a lot of talent in here that do incredible amount of damage, as well as shields and healing and stuff like this, for example, which will make you last a lot longer out there in the field when chaining, which will eventually just earn you a lot of CP value. Also here, it is quite light into the tree. This will give you basically extra 5 level 1 tactic manuals, which I think is 500 XP every time you kill a Darkling, a dark creature. Now you can have this on all the heroes who have Peacekeeping. So basically, for your 40 CP, you're going to get 500 XP more, which is not huge, but it is a significant free buff that costs you nothing as long as you are, spec'd into the tree properly from the get-go, or you can also use your gem to respec. And then this one will also give you an extra item, which is often like a small amount of resources, but it is again free. So if you are going to be planning a session where you're going to farm all of your CP items, I would recommend that you use heroes like Peacekeepers that have these. They'll last longer and they'll give you more rewards for it. So this obviously includes Guanwin and Lilia, which will lead a mage march with Peacekeeping, as well as Ilyana, which also has Peacekeeping and can lead literally any march. Best would be infantry because she's a good tank, and she is the one that you would like to use as a tank so that she takes most of the damage, because she shields and eventually heals herself, which means that she will allow you to last longer when killing Darkling patrols. So obviously use her and, you know, do the event when she's out in order to get her sculptures when you can, because it will really give you a lot of value and will allow you to stay in the field for a long time. Also, obviously, killing Darklings costs, like I said, 50 all the way down to 40 CP. Darkling Fort, on the other hand, will cost, you know, a March 150, and I don't think it can go down, but if it go down, it would only go down to 140. So I would recommend against Darkling Forts until maybe level 5, level 4, because in terms of purely for XP, there is just not a lot of value here. This is, you know, 500 times 18. Basically, if you get the full reward, we can go into my reports and see a little bit better. So this is like the force I've done. I've done a level 4 where I do, you know, a lot of damage. I've done a level 3 where I do a lot of damage. This is like basically 6,000, 7,000 XP, and then this is 28,000. So of course, level 4 are really good compared to level 3. Level 3 are actually really not worth it. But if you think about it, other than the fact that the results here, the rewards are pretty good. This is 28,000 for 150 CP. I can get 21,000 for 40 here, right? So it's just, in terms of leveling your heroes, they're just not good. They're going to be good because they give keys and books and stuff for the late game. So I would not use your CP in Darkling Force until level 4 or 5, which comes in the like zone 2 and zone 3. It is definitely not something you want to focus on the early game because you want to level up your heroes first. When your heroes are level 60, then you can start doing those forts. Now, of course, another thing that's pretty good to know is going to be the level of the Darklings. So in the early game, obviously, do not use your books and your CP items because, you know, the level XP is so bad. Level 12, 13, you know, it's still 5,000, 6,000. When you get into like level 21, look at the jump. 12, 14, 17,000, 21,000, 25,000, 30,000. Now, of course, level 24 and 25 are in the center of the map, so zone 2, more actually even zone 3. But you will see 25 is the max. And then if you click the little button here when it's a lock, when you don't have the 25 unlocked, it will show you when the next level is unlocking. So you could see, you know, you could wait until the next level is unlocked. And then when you get to the point where we're at 25, well, you see, you know, this only appears at the center of the map. 24, oh, there are 24 close to my city. I'm in zone 2 right now. So as you can see here, this is our zone 2. And then when we get to the zone 3 here, eventually we will have the 25s. But, you know, it's just, if you are going to be spending these little items, might as well wait until you get so much more per items. The value is just so good. So if you can hold on spending these until you are in the zone 2 and war is about to approach and you really want to be so strong before the war, it's fine. But of course, if you can wait until 24, 25, it is going to be the most value, most bang for your buck. You will really be leveling up your heroes very fast. We're talking about 30,000 per Darkling. You can see it's 800,000. Like, it's a lot, but 30,000 goes quite quickly. Now, another thing to take in mind is when you are attacking a march, the XP is going to be split. So this is going to be 21,000. Well, it will have extra bonuses, but then it will be divided in two. So for example, I just killed this Darkling and I got 13,000. Now, this is a perfect example of why you should never do this once your heroes are level 60, because when you're fighting Darklings, the XP is split, right? So this is basically 28,000 divided by 2. But because Guanwin is maxed, the other 14,000 is basically just in the nether. It's wasted completely. As opposed to when you're fighting, for example, on these guys, you know, 16,000, 16,000, which is perfectly great. You want that to be split between these two heroes when you're leveling them. But when you're doing something like this, you know, I did the same with my Lilia. The 16,000 went to my Bakshi, but nothing on the Lilia. So once they're 60, do not use them to kill Darklings anymore. They are not going to give you anything. They can still do it eventually when you have all your heroes maxed out, but if you're going to be using CP on Darklings, do it on heroes that can gain the XP. If you want to use these strong heroes instead, go and target creatures, which give a lot less XP, but give a lot of arcane dust for artifacts, as well as a lot of resources, which is always good. And they are giving a lot less XP, which is a lot less value being wasted for you. But again, you have plenty of heroes to level, so if you are going to be doing anything with CP other than the Darkling Fort for the rewards, I would not be spending it on things that give XP for heroes that are maxed out. Now, another thing that is quite good to give you a lot of extra XP and CP really in this game is going to be the store. We're talking about the merit store specifically. The reason is that in the merit store, some of the items here that do appear at times are going to be the items that give you CP. So merit is free to farm by just killing enemies, farmers and stuff, you have free healing, so there's no reason not to get some merit fighting every once and then, or as much as you can, of course. There's a lot of good stuff in this store. I have a full video on the store, specifically the best value, so go check it out if you're interested. But meaning that in this store, you will find these items, the basic CP recovery, as well as the standard CP recovery. I've bought a few thousand CPs worth of items in that store alone already, which adds up a lot, especially when you're leveling heroes. So it is something that people kind of overlook sometimes. Really do use your merit to buy these if you see them in your store. It is really worth it, again, because it's just free value. It gives you resource, it gives you items, it gives you XP. So it is really, really strong to do so. I would definitely try and get that when I can. Now, lastly, of course, the Dragon Trail. This is where you're going to get a big chunk of your XP. As you can see, 21 hours of this gives me 97,000 XP here. So, of course, you know, the faster you can clear your Dragon Trail. Once you have 3 marches, like a full T4 kind of thing, you can get this beat up. I was the 11th on my server. I'm a 9 million power account. Almost everyone on top of me has at least double, if not triple my power. So you don't need to be a whale to beat this. Of course, you might be stuck at 276 or 275 for quite some time. That's fine. Just don't sleep on this. You really need to get as high as possible, as early as possible. It is going to get you quite ahead in XP if you focus this early on in the game and you make sure that you do this. Now, if you are going to be spending gems here, you can basically get 6 hours worth of the loot for like 240 gems. The first one is free, so you get it for free. Don't forget it every day. Just always come and click it. I've stopped doing it because I don't need that much XP now. Most of my main heroes are leveled up, but you definitely can do this if you are a spender because the cost is pretty low. But the worth it here it's pretty low as well. You don't really need to do this other than the very early first weeks of a season. Now, lastly, of course, gatherers. Now, as you can see, I have so many heroes at level 40, 41, and I've never killed a Darkling with almost any of them. Reason being, my gatherers, they're level 48. I've never spent a book in them. I've never done anything with them. And they're all 48, 47, 47, 48. Like, it's obviously quite easy. Obviously, the talents. Earth's Grace, 12,000 XP per day. And then you have another one here, 20,000 XP per day. And then you have another one here, another 20,000 XP a day. For a big total of 52,000. Yeah, exactly. 52,000 XP per day for just gathering, right? So if you log on every few hours and you send your gatherers out, you're going to be getting a lot of levels on them. I can see here like 52,000. So basically every 4 or 5 days, I'm getting a level on my gatherers at this point. It will get longer as the XP requirements get higher, but it is going to be your priority at the beginning of the season to get them, leveled up at least up to here quite quickly. Even if you have to use a few books, it doesn't matter. You can also use a few books if you're close to these ones. Because it's just every single day 52,000 XP for free on 4 gatherers, as well as Ordo has only 1 but has 12,000 XP. So if you have 4 marches, 5 marches, you can send 5 marches of gatherer. He can give 12,000 to everybody. They can give 52,000 to everybody else. So every day I'm sending my 4 or 5 gatherers, and I use one of my main heroes as secondary until they're maxed out. You will see when you go into your gathering here. You will see eventually when they're maxed out, you can see here my Waldeer, my Kinara, 13,000, 0 here. So she got 19,000 here. That was the max. She couldn't get any more. So now after that, I would switch to secondary heroes, which I'm leveling afterwards. So if you gather a lot during a day, you'll be able to get a lot of XP on these heroes for free. And you can see, all of my gathering, it just has so many XP boosts on all of my heroes. It would be stupid not to do so. It's free XP and it is a must. I have a full guide covering this specifically, which I'll put in the description below, as well as the card at the end. But it basically is just, it's a free added value. You must be doing this from day one. If whales don't do this, don't gather people, like there's a lot of whales who just don't bother with this stuff. Well, that is why many whales are falling behind right now in terms of hero level. I have not seen any big whales on my server have multiple 60s yet because they haven't been gathering and doing this. So they're stuck just trying to use CP, which you can't buy. So, it's limited. I have so many of these heroes that are maxed out, and I'm probably going to get these 2 level 60 by the next week or so, because now I'm going to focus on them a lot with all my CP. So it really is just free, and it's really easy to do. You just have to be active. Send your gatherers every few hours. Don't let your CP waste, and do all the tricks about chaining and using the right builds and stuff to really give you a lot of value, and you will get your heroes up and level 60 very, very early in the season. Now we're heading into past level 3 in the next week or so, and from there on I'm going to have every hero that I want level 60. Now, the primary hero, level 60, brings an extra 23,000 troops. The secondary hero brings half of that, which is another 12,000-ish, almost 11,500, whatever. So it's a lot of extra troop in a march, makes your march a lot stronger. So again, if you have any question, make sure to ask in the comments about leveling your heroes, tips about XP that you've found in the game, some efficiencies and some builds that you might have. Make sure to share with us in the comments, as well as make sure to check out my other video about leveling heroes properly with Gatherer and focusing on the tips and tricks around that, as well as my multiple guides about Call of Dragons, whether it's about artifacts, mage, archers, unit types, kind of things, best factions, and stuff like that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.